Hello guys and welcome to my new video, and today we'll be talking about a healer only video, and this is going to be looking at Holy Paladins, and it's going to help you to decide whether you should be playing Holy Paladin 8.2 because there is plenty of people who are coming back for BfA 8.2. 8.2 overall feels pretty good in terms of the content that it provides. The raid has been pretty good. Beguiling is not as bad as I think a lot of people expected. I think Beguiling is gonna get better with time once people know the routes, but overall Holy Paladin has been one of those climber healing specs, and all of a sudden a lot of people are asking me, should I be playing Holy Paladin? Should I try out Holy Paladin? Is it my playstyle? Do I need Glimmers? Is Glimmer good? Should I play Glimmer? Can I play other kind of version of Holy Paladin? And this video is going to answer all those questions, and it might be a series which I might cover other healing specs, and if you want to see more of these videos, let me know in the comments what the next healer should be. But let's go to Holy Paladin. And first of all, throughout this whole video, every time I'm going to refer to Holy Paladin, I'm going to be talking about Glimmer of Light. This Azeroth trade has changed Holy Paladins completely, to an extent that at the start of BfA, coming from Legion into BfA, I feel the amount of changes that happened to Holy Paladins was pretty sad in terms of a lot of things that shouldn't have been changed got changed. Talents were introduced that shouldn't have been introduced. Like, I could go on and on about how Holy Paladins in my eyes were the biggest losers coming from Legion to BfA, but this Azeroth trade has changed everything. This Azeroth trade that was unchecked, it wasn't really nerfed, and Blizzard just kind of let it slide, and they end up creating a whole playstyle, a whole new playstyle that is very, very different from your, let's call it vanilla or the original Holy Paladin, to this Glimmer of Light Holy Paladin. And a lot of people need to understand that the playstyles are very, very different. If you've been playing Holy Paladin, I don't know for how many years, from the very start, you'll know that this almost feels like a brand new class. It's almost like a new class being introduced because it is so different. And first of all, Glimmer of Light is responsible for that. Now, I'm not going to go into arguments about which playstyle is more fun, and in my opinion, Glimmer has kind of brought me back to Holy Paladin. It's a lot more fun for me. There's going to be a lot of these, you know, the original Holy Paladins who don't enjoy Glimmer of Light, or maybe they feel it's not needed and things like that. But in my opinion, Glimmer was kind of a savior towards Holy Paladins. I'm not saying that the old version, I'm talking, you know, the non-Glimmer Holy Paladin version is unviable. I'm not saying that. You can absolutely still play the old version, you know, just a Holy Light, Flashlight and stuff like that. You don't have to apply Glimmers or whatever. You can still play that. But why would you play, or at least if you're looking to progress mythic content, why would you play a sub-optimal spec? Because Holy Paladin is here, the original version, and Glimmer is like way over there. Glimmer is arguably right now, and I could show you numbers if I wanted to. I could show you, you know, if you've been watching World First Race, you'll notice Glimmer or Paladins in general are probably one of the best raid healers right now with Disciplined Priests. They're doing extremely well. Actually, let me show you some numbers. So this is the mythic overall healing logs right now, and you can see that Holy Paladin is just destroying in terms of pure HPS, and pure HPS is not really that relevant. The funny aspect is that majority of the Holy Paladins in Mythic will be using Devotion Aura, which does not show up on healing meters. This is a healing spec without the healing cooldown that shows up on healing meters. Very similar to Disciplined Priest, where Barrier doesn't show up either, but you can just see how absurdly broken they are. And this is after Glimmer was nerfed by like 12-15% before 8.2 was released. So you can just see the scaling, the viability, the powerhouse that Holy Paladin with Glimmer of Light is. If you go to Heroic, it's a little bit different because Heroic logs are kind of skewed towards classes that have big raid cooldowns and things like that. But if this is the 75 percentile, so if you're playing your class, you know, kind of decently, this is what kind of numbers you expect to see. But if you go to like an optimal play of a certain class, you'll see that Holy Paladins are emerging. They're getting better. So if you can play a Holy Paladin with Glimmer of Light really well, you'll probably be the top healer in your group. You'll probably be the guy that people will be looking for. Hey, you're providing a lot of healing, and on top of that, you're providing a ton of DPS. This is, I like to say that this meter is a representation of what healer is strong or the best in World First Race. And this is not healing logs, this is actually the DPS logs. So you can see there's a big kind of debate about what makes a good healer in world first and like the highest end content, and DPS is a huge aspect. So if you're a type of healer that also likes to contribute DPS, Holy Paladin is right up there. Discipline Priest is doing really well, and it's one of the big reasons why these type of healers are performing really well at the highest content possible. I just want to showcase how strong Glimmer is at the moment. It is an extremely strong healing spec right now. In terms of the playstyle, it's very similar like in 8.2 from 8.15. Nothing has really changed. There's been new essences, and I'll talk about certain essences that I've been running. I've been running Vision of Perfection, which I feel is performing really strong. Whether you be using Vision of Perfection as major or minor is going to be determined by the boss fight. Whether you'll be using Vision, actually you'll most likely be using Vision in raids and 5-man content. A lot of Holy Paladins tend to go with combination of certain Azeroth or certain essences, things like ERT. ERT can be strong, Vision of Perfection can be strong, and then you have Well of Existence as well, which can also be strong. And I think combination of those has been used by a lot of Holy Paladins in 5-mans and raids. In 5-man content right now, I've been experimenting with ERT major and Vision minor. I feel Vision of Perfection has really improved Holy Paladin Glimmer of Light playstyle, because now you can easier, or you can combine. First of all, for the people who don't know, Vision, or at least a minor Vision, reduces the cooldown of Avenging Wrath by a certain percentage. So all of a sudden my Wings is now 1.7, my Holy Avenger is 1.5, and combining them together is no longer that much of a chore basically, because before that you had to kind of choose, do I have to hold my Wings or use my Holy Avenger here? And now with Vision you can kind of combine them both, and certain boss fights that just works really well. There's damage every 1.5 or 1.7 minutes or whatever, and it's like it works really well. In 5-man content I've been using Vision of Perfection. I've been running with ERT, and my rationale, and by no means this is the best essence combination, this is what I've been trying out. I feel Mythic Plus is open to so many different essence interpretations depending on what you need. DPS, healing, or whatever, single target healing. It's open for so many different combinations. So this is what I've been trying. I'm not condoning this is the best way, but I've been using ERT and I've been using Vision of Perfection. I've been using my Wings and Holy Avenger on cooldown, which has felt really good. My DPS has improved a lot. I feel a Holy Paladin can really blast 15 to 20k DPS in Mythic Plus content. Like Holy Paladin can definitely compete with some of the underperforming DPS classes. It's actually insane. So with Vision I've been using, you know, my cooldowns on cooldown, and during my downtime when I don't have that Wings and when my tank is taking a lot of damage, and when the group is taking a lot of damage, I tend to go with ERT and activate ERT and get the stacks of ERT and improve my, or boost my healing, so I can, you know, heal through the moments when I don't have cooldowns. Because Holy Paladin right now and for longest time has felt like a or really dependent on cooldowns. If you don't have Wings, you're in trouble. If you don't have a crit from, or if you don't have Infusion of Light, you're in trouble. And I feel that ERT is kind of helping me out in that 5-man content where, oh hey, I have my cooldown in the next minute or something or whatever. Just let me use ERT, let me get through this tough stage, and when I get my cooldowns, I'm gonna be blasting crazy. And this is what I've been using in 5-mans, and I think it's kind of pretty good. I wanted to mix in a couple of other ones, but for the time being, I just want to talk about some of the essences I've been using. I've been using the same kind of combo in raids as well. ERT can cause mana issues even for Holy Paladins. Some of the Holy Paladins that have been doing the highest content in their world first, whatever, has opted out from using ERT. Doing like Mythic, whatever, and boss can still tend or lead to some mana issues. And if Holy Paladin is having mana issues with ERT, believe me, everyone else is gonna have certain issues. So you have to play really smart if you do end up playing with ERT or Ever Rising Tide. But overall, the play style, and a lot of people, or at least for the longest time, I thought Holy Paladin with Glimmer of Light was just a relatively easy spec. There's not much to it. You use your cooldowns. With Vision of Perfection, you basically can combine Wings and Holy Avenger at all times. So it's actually pretty nice and neatly packaged for everybody. But a lot of people came back to me after I kind of said, oh hey, try out Glimmer of Light. It's an easy spec to play. You'll see good numbers. And a lot of people came back to me and said, hey MadSkillz, I just can't get used to this whole, you know, when I pop my cooldowns, what am I doing? Like, you have this really fast moment where you have to do Crusader Strike, Holy Shock, Crusader Strike, Holy Shock, Crusader Strike, Holy Shock. and you need to be able to hit the boss or hit the melee, and you need to be able to, you know, make sure you mouse over certain targets that actually need your Holy Shocks, because Holy Shock is going to leave Glimmer of Light. And Glimmer of Light is going to stay on them for 30 seconds, and every time you go into Holy Shock, that target is going to get healed. It actually works in the same way that if you use Holy Shock on an enemy, it's going to apply Glimmer on them. So if you heal somebody, they get damaged, or if you damage that person with Holy Shock, the people who had Glimmer of Light get healed. So it's a really cool combination that works really nicely in Mythic Plus, where you can do damage and at the same time you can still heal a little bit. So you can do a bit of both at the same time, which is very, very versatile, or at least provide versatility towards the class, making them stronger in 5-man content. But a lot of people came back to me and said, this is just too fast for me. I can't deal with this. Maybe I'm not using mouse overs, maybe I'm not using click or add-ons. And like, I can see it. The amount of buttons per minute that you need to press during a cooldowns is quite heavy. I think it's probably the heaviest or the most out of any healers out there, if I really think about it. Because during this cooldowns of Holy Avenger Wings, this is where majority of your glimmers are going to be placed. This is where majority of your healing is going to be done. So if you mess that up, it's going to be hard for you to, you know, look good on the meters, or maybe prevent the wipe for your guild, depending on how many healers you go. So I can see how people say that this might be a little bit hard, but overall I think this is very interesting playstyle. I feel it adds a lot to it, especially because Glimmer can be used on targets, on enemy targets. I love that in Mythic Plus content, where I can compete, or my DPS can compete with the, you know, with the pure DPS classes. And even in raid scenarios, if you're pushing that really high-end content, that DPS is actually pretty nice to have. And overall, this is where your bread and butter comes in as a Holy Paladin. Getting as many Holy Shocks as you can. And this is why certain talents like Crusader Smite are really, really strong. Because every time you're going to use Crusader Strike, it's going to lower the cooldown of your Holy Shock. And then, you know, your Holy Avenger also gives you haste. And Holy Shock healing is increased by 30%. So basically, all of this, or haste, comes into this. Hey, with more haste, with Crusader Smite, I can do Crusader Strike, get Holy Shock, get more Holy Shocks, get more Glimmer of Light, more healing. And all of a sudden, in terms of secondary stats, haste is becoming stronger and stronger. Certain other stats becoming stronger as well. It depends. I recommend you to use WoW Analyzer and things like that. One of the big deals with 8.2 is that all of a sudden secondaries are increasing, or at least you get more of the secondaries because item level is higher, you get more secondaries. All of a sudden I'm getting like 30% of my haste, 30% of my mastery or whatever. So I can see the big numbers, I can see the big haste numbers. I can see how Glimmer of Light is going to scale, which is really interesting because at the start I didn't think Glimmer of Light is going to scale that well because it doesn't work with intellect at all. There's a reason why Glimmer of Light Holy Paladins do not value intellect. To an extent that intellect can have such a poor value when you compare it to secondaries. But even though Glimmer doesn't scale with intellect, the numbers have been insane. The secondaries have been scaling really well. Glimmer has been doing pretty well. The playstyle in itself, a true melee healer. You have to hit the boss. You have to be fast when you use your cooldowns. It's an extremely strong healing spec right now. Essences work well for it. I feel there's multiple essences that can be strong. I like or really enjoy Vision of Perfection. I feel Vision of Perfection is an extremely fun, not fun per se, but it just gives you, you know, higher uptime of wings. And for me, Holy Paladin is all about those cooldowns. The more times I can get wings, the more healing, the more DPS I can do, the more fun the class feels to me. I'd love to hear your opinions whether you enjoy Glimmer of Light, because when I refer to Holy Paladin, it has to be Glimmer. If you're not playing Glimmer right now, you're missing out on tons of healing. If you're not pushing high-end content, who cares? Play whatever you want. Like, you don't have to play Glimmer. If you're looking to improve your healing, if you're looking to actually improve your healing, you have to go Glimmer. There's just no other way about it. You have to try and get those Glimmer Azeroth traits. Pick up some of these Vision of Perfection essences. It's very fun. It's very cool. Try it out. Glimmer is gonna give you solid numbers in Mythic Plus, in raids. To some extent, I feel it's a fun class, and I feel Holy Paladin has been resurrected from the ashes. At the start of BfA, Paladin was in a terrible spot in my opinion. and now we have a Holy Paladin, to some extent one of the best healers in 8.2.